There was some talk of whether the team could switch points.
Whoa, guys, whoa. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. I have never seen anything like that in my life.
He hit that wall a ton.
Oh, my gosh.
Michael's moving around in the car. My goodness, that car just hooked, went straight in.
It did that hook and go up the hill, man.
And that was a incredibly hard impact into the safer barrier.
Look at that safer barrier right there, how it just crushed all that stuff.
That is good, though.
Oh, no,
means that thing moved.
It's great. It's just incredible how hard it hit.
Just the minute he turns down into the corner.
Yeah, and he's just, man, and that thing just absolutely.
I will guarantee you that impact was well over 180, probably 185 miles per hour. We've already seen 199 or better getting in there going straight.
Your 2021 Daytona 500 champion, yes, that driver, Michael McDowell, was the one who had this vicious accident in qualifying at Texas in 2008. This was the first year for NASCAR to bring its full-time car, the COT car, into action. It was geared towards safety, and this proved that it was going to be a very, very safe car for NASCAR for the coming years. This is one of the most violent crashes we've ever seen in NASCAR history at qualifying. It tore this car to pieces, and thankfully, McDowell was able to walk away unharmed.
Leading this.
Oh,
look at
Earnhardt got sideways. Somebody looked like made some contact with
we've got a problem.
Contact here, for sure. Daryl Waltrip and Joe Rutten. Waltrip's car gets on his roof and over and over.
Daryl Waltrip tumbling down the backstretch in what appears to be a very, very serious crash. Joe Rutten, the other car involved in that incident. Daryl Waltrip.
Come on, DW. It looked like the car was going to slide through the grass there and be okay, but then I don't know if it crossed some pavement or something. It dug in.
Yes, Ned, it caught a road over there, and it just.
And when the car got slightly in the air, then it just went on over. The air got underneath it, and it began to.
I would hate at that time to be a spectator of the grandstands and witness this with my own eyes and think, yeah, I just lost one of my favorite drivers to this accident. But that rarely actually happened with these horrible accidents, and thankfully, Daryl Waltrip was a prime example. He would flip violently in the grass on the backstretch of Daytona in 1991. His car would dig into the grass and just start flipping violently, and there was no stopping it until the inertia stopped on the grass. Waltrip's car would come to rest with very few movements of the car. We all thought the worst, and Waltrip was taken to an infield care center and then transported to a hospital. But thankfully, Waltrip was able to live to tell the tale, and he kept on racing. This was definitely probably one of Daryl Waltrip's worst crashes he's ever had in his entire career, but he does plenty of interviews talking about it, and it has definitely helped involving the safety back in the 90s.
He is flying on this restart. Whoa, look out! Elliot's gone. Keselowski, Reddick, two playoff drivers in this wreck. And the car goes over. Tyler Reddick has flipped.
Yep, I'm good.
So Reddick is up high. We'll look at the 45, the Jumpman car. There's contact. Contact maybe with Truex and Elliott. That was the spark.
It is. Truex and Elliott side by side. I don't know if it's contact or just arrow tight, but the 9 of Elliott up the racetrack, not meaning to, catches the 45. Around goes the 45, and as the 45 gets in here, he hops onto the quarter mile and gets upside down. Crazy looking accident for Tyler Reddick in the 45.
That is crazy.
There's no way anybody saw this coming. You could have joked and said there's going to be a flip, and nobody would have expected it. Tyler Reddick, when battling for a Final Four spot at Las Vegas, flips over in the grass. And even the craziest thing about it, his car was able to keep moving and he drove to his pit stall. Reddick's car was flipped in the grass and flipped over one time, and he landed back on his wheels. Reddick was battling Martin Truex Jr. and playoff contender Chase Elliott. Truex slid up into Elliott, which made him go into Reddick. Reddick still said it was his fault and he should have been on the high side to put himself in that position. Regardless, Reddick flipped over in the grass at Las Vegas, and it is the first flip in the NASCAR Cup Series at Las Vegas. If we ever see another flip at Las Vegas, I would still be as surprised as this one.
Rock forward. Hit your mark here. You're way better than he is. Hit your mark. Caution's out. Caution's out. Caution is out off at 7.
Those
Those barrels at the end of pit road that are filled with gravel and sand have been destroyed. The pit lane barrels, that's Denny Hamlin.
Denny's back there. It's hard to tell if there was any contact from behind on Denny's part.
So that's at the pit entrance.
There's too much at this point in time. If that is indeed, they may be looking at left sides while they're getting fuel, depending on how long they're going to be out there. Yeah, that's what I would be looking at.
Oh, trouble.
Gosh, what a mark.
Ryan Newman, hard into the wall. Michael McDowell, hard into the wall.
Caution's out, caution's out.
Terrible crash. That difficult spot between the exit of the carousel and turn 6. You saw Newman tried to drive, it looked like, for a second, and the left rear tire just fell off, now dropping the window net.
There was Biffle coming back on the track that made Newman try to avoid running into him. Contact between Biffle and Newman. Yes, Biffle came back on the track. Newman was right there. Got into him and hard into that guardrail and the tires. Sends him back out in the middle of the track here into McDowell.
You see the rear end housing loose from the car, and then it goes over the fence. But that last impact for McDowell was the one that probably knocked the wind out of him.
What a piece of driving by David Reagan, sliding through there between those crashed cars.
The 2014 race at Watkins Glen saw one of, if not the most destructive crash on the short chute we've ever seen at that facility. And it's when Ryan Newman and Michael McDowell caused a massive wreck that would ensue Michael McDowell's number 95 Caleb Ford to go flying into the guardrail, busting through the guardrail, and breaking the entire rear suspension of that race car. It is something so dangerous, and it still blows my mind today that we use guardrails as protection. Doesn't matter the track, there are still multiple tracks with dangerous areas. And Watkins Glen has definitely worked on this area, and we haven't seen a bad accident like this since, but this was by far one of the most horrific crashes we've ever seen at that part of the track. But in 2009, there was also another part, and we were in a commercial break when it happened, and when we came back, the chaos ensued during the replays.
Here's Sam Hornish racing with Casey Kane as they come out of the corner. Oh, looks like Casey got loose and tried to correct it. Got into Sam, and goodness gracious, what
just as we saw the other day. Wow, huge lick by Jeff Gordon. It's good to see him get out of his car.
And Sam Hornish. Both of those cars hit extremely hard on that second impact.
Gordon head on into the Armco barrier.
We saw this happen with Jason Leffler's car the other day, get thrown back, and Jeff Gordon wide open, nowhere to go.
It's good to see those guys get out of the car.
Joey Logano just missing the inside of the 77 car when he came by.
Right along with Jeff Gordon here. Be ready, folks. This is hard. Ooh. Man, just no time to do anything.
And there's no safer barrier there. That's just...
This has to be one of the biggest hits in Jeff Gordon's entire racing career. Jeff Gordon took a lot of hits in his years at NASCAR, but man, this one was just so dangerous. At Watkins Glen, just a few years prior, between the 2014 one we just saw, Sam Hornish Jr., Jeff Gordon would tangle coming out of the carousel. It all happened when Casey Kane and Sam Hornish got together, sending Hornish's car up the racetrack and into the tire barriers, ricocheting back across the racetrack right in front of Jeff Gordon, and he had nowhere to go. This had to have been very scary for Gordon. I mean, if I was driving that race car, I would be horrified seeing nothing I can do and a car basically coming to a complete stop right in front of me and just nowhere to go. Jeff Gordon would have then hit the wall head on and go back across the racetrack and stop in the middle of the racetrack. Sam Hornish Jr. also took some violent hits, but his hits were at least a little more protected than Gordon because he hit the tire barriers, and those absorb a lot of the energy.
Yeah, he's got to get to the top. The top's going to have the biggest energy here.
21's going to come with a huge shove.
They are 2 and 3 wide behind him. Crossover.
Here he
That's
comes.
Austin Hill in the 21. Big crash. Up and over. Caution is out. That's Myatt Snyder.
Looks like he's moving around, winning it down. That's a good sign. I believe Austin Hill's got this.
And the leader, Austin Hill. But keep this in mind. We freeze the field when the caution comes out on the final lap, so NASCAR will have to review.
In 2022, Myatt Snyder kicked off the Xfinity Series in the air that landed in the catch fence, ripping the back of his car apart and flying the engine out and putting it on the racetrack. This was an extremely dangerous crash and a horrifying one to witness. Thankfully, Myatt Snyder just left this accident with just a few bruises. That just shows how remarkable the safety has been in NASCAR over the last 25 years. To have a car that has gone over the catch, that has had a car fly into the air, into the catch fence, ripping it to shreds, and the driver being okay. Thankfully, Myatt Snyder walked away from this accident, because it was horrifying to watch.
We've heard, oh, here's a car upside down.
Big time crash upside down.
Oh, it's Ryan Newman. See Kevin Harvick there. Marcus Ambrose.
Ambrose is there, comes across. Harvick stops, and Newman's car comes to rest upside down on its roof. We were hoping it would not happen, and here with 5 laps to go, indeed it has.
Hell of a job.
I don't know what started that, but you see quite a bit of damage on that car. Flipped over 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I was looking out the window, but I could not see. That's so far. That's the farthest point away from us. Just couldn't tell what was going on there.
The safety crews are there immediately. They get in the car and will try to communicate with the driver.
Jeff Green got sideways there underneath the 27 car. Casey Atwood almost lost control.
And a big...
Oh, trouble, trouble. Oh, and one car upside down.
Casey Atwood. And sliding through the grass, Kenson winds around.
White and yellow flag.
Atwood's car is destroyed. You saw the officials with the caution flag out very quickly as leader Randy LaJoie came to the flag.
Well, here it is. Waltrip in the 55, Mears in the 13, Stewart in the 14.
You can see Tony just a little bit late in making that move to get back down. Harvick and Kenseth on the outside had a run, so they were literally going to go by him on both sides.
Watch the 2. The championship leader somehow avoided getting really torn up in that.
See, it looked like Martin Truex was going to get through there. Bobby Labonte caught him right at the end.
They waited all day to do it, but it was big when it happened.
Yes, sir.
See, Michael Waltrip just barely catching the left rear quarter panel of Kevin Harvick. Get him involved. Stewart's car upside down. On top of Casey Kane's number 5.
Down here, Greg Biffle, Kyle Busch, both of them kind of describing amongst the laugh and probably a big sigh as well.
By far, one of the most wildest crashes I've ever seen as a NASCAR fan was the 2012 Talladega playoff race. Tony Stewart tried to block Michael Waltrip on the bottom of the track, wasn't clear, and sent himself and Waltrip back up the track. And it collected everybody but like 6 cars. This was still the most craziest thing that's probably ever happened at Talladega, and that's saying something. This crash will be forever remembered as the big one. Actually, never mind. The everyone.
Crash over in turn 2. Michael Waltrip has hit the wall hard. The car is upside down, and you can see the car is really torn up. Well, Jerry, I said it's sort of on its side, or boy, yes, it is upside down.
they're fixing up that gate where Michael hit over there. Let's take a look one more time and give that Kool-Aid man on the hood of that Pontiac a wild ride. Now, just coming out of turn 2, that's the crossover gate, and Michael hits the juncture of the gate and the concrete wall that begins the back straightaway. The car is literally sawed open, and you see the steering wheel now sticking out to the left side of the car. And this is what's left of Michael Waltrip's Kool-Aid Country Time Pontiac.
Out of the second turn and down the backstretch. That's Waltrip and Alan Kulwicki leading this.
Oh,
look at
Earnhardt got sideways. Somebody looked like made some contact.
Uh-oh, we've got a problem.
Contact here, for sure. Daryl Waltrip and Joe Ruttman. Waltrip's car gets on his rim and over and over.
Daryl Waltrip tumbling down the backstretch in what appears to be a very, very serious crash. Joe Ruttman, the other car involved in that incident.
That we see Daryl. He's down on the inside of Kulwicki, and Joe Ruttman right behind him. Now here comes Earnhardt. Looks like someone had tapped him. But, Kulwicki came down and touched Daryl.
Threw him back into Ruttman.
Ruttman gets in the side of him.
And
here's the road they hit.
Yep. When he hits the road, it gets him airborne, and the car starts over. Of course, he was being pushed by the car number 75. That was just a circumstance.
The most respected racing team in stock car racing, the Wood brothers, took one of their own, a Virginian, to drive for them, Elliot Sadler. Elliot's with me now, and I'm sure you've heard the story since yesterday of one of the most dramatic incidents of the 2000 season to date. In turn 1, yesterday afternoon, half hour left in the final practice. You're riding with Elliot Sadler. There's the tire blowing. There's the first time over, second, third. How many times did you go over, Elliot?
I think we ended up 12 times before it was all said and done. It's definitely the scariest time of my life, but I tell you what, the Wood brothers built me a great race car as far as being safe. NASCAR did a great job on the specs, and I'm just happy to be here with you fine people today.
Well, we're awfully glad to have you with us, and seeing you before the race began today out here signing autographs and smiling, and that was such a vicious, nasty sidewinder.
It was. It's never been on my roof before, and the scariest thing, it spooks you pretty bad. It's just really silent. When you go up in the air, seems like you can hear a pin fall, and just kept on rolling and bouncing over and over, and just pretty scary sight, but I was conscious the whole time. I remember every bump and bruise and every spark that flew, and the most special moment is it seemed like I had just finished flipping, and Kyle Petty was there to help me get out of my car. He must have stopped while I was rolling and ran down to me and helped me get out of my car and kept me calm. And
oh, and there goes Theriot hard into the wall. And that's Reddick in the 19 that had the problem, that kicked it all off with Theriot as he comes grinding to a halt on the front straightaway after a huge, heavy impact here on the front stretch.
There's Reddick high in turn 4 loose. Just about has his truck saved, and along comes Theriot. Look at that right front tire.
Yeah, really nothing Austin can do. And
at all.
And Tyler Reddick, he was just fighting to regain control of his truck.
My rookie year, punctured a tire, sent the car hard into the wall. And I ended up with a broken leg, fractured clavicle, just numerous injuries.
He is out of the car on the stretcher. He is conscious, and they are going to load him into the ambulance.
Not at all. Ryan Newman off turn 4 for the final time. Blaney to the outside, to the inside. Here comes Hamlin up the outside. Wow. Crash into the wall, into the air. Goes Newman.
Upside down.
In a shower of sparks on his roof, Ryan Newman comes across the line, 4th. And comes to rest. Scoring unofficial.
Newman gets a pretty good run to the turn 4, but now here comes a huge run by Ryan Blaney, being pushed by Denny Hamlin. He tries to go to the outside, then the inside. They lock bumpers and turns Ryan Newman around. Upside down he goes. Corey LaJoie coming along, making contact.
Just lifting Newman's car up and over. And it comes to rest on its roof. Here is the second closest finish in Daytona 500 history. Denny Hamlin, the winner in both of them. This time it is Ryan Blaney.
finishing second. Blaney tried the top side, tried to get low. Ryan Newman goes around, and the car goes to its roof, and here's the onrushing Corey LaJoie picking it up and over.
Lap 108, you're clear. 108 at the line here.
Oh, we got a crash. 48 goes around. The big one happening. The one's upside down. Kurt Busch climbed all over the top of the 41 of Custer. The 2 is around. Playoff contenders involved.
Yeah, right there. The 14's pushing the 48. Gets him turned around. Now, off the right. Kurt Busch way up in the air. Fortunately, came down on his tires. There it starts, right there. That trial, we talked about it earlier. That is the worst place. That's where your car has the least amount of grip around this racetrack.
In 2020, during the Talladega playoff race, Kurt Busch was sent up the racetrack and hit the wall head on. He hit it so hard that his car flew over Cole Custer and Clint Boyer. This is something so wild that we've honestly haven't really seen that much in NASCAR. A car to hit the wall so hard that 2 cars drive underneath him. Thankfully, Kurt Busch was okay after this accident, but man, was that scary.